Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our season of building better foundations. We are almost building better interviews this time around. But yes, once again, we are continuing. This is part two of our interview with Wes Towers, and we are going to jump back into that fairly soon. But first, this is the Building Better Developers podcast. This is Developreneur. I am Rob Brudhead, a founder of said Building Better Developers Developreneur. Also, the founder of RB Consulting, where we help you do technology better. We sit down with you, we walk through your business and how you do business. It is unique, it is custom. And within that, we help you craft a custom recipe for leveraging technology and improving your processes and integrating, simplifying, automating your business so that you can work in your on your business instead of in your business. We get you a roadmap, we help you execute that, or we give you the instructions on how to execute that. Your choice. It is custom fit to your business and your needs. Check us out at rb-sns.com, rb-sns.com/product. If you want to just jump right into a technology audit, or if you want to try one out yourself, you can check out matrix.rb-sns.com and go spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes and get yourself a quick and dirty assessment, but also it includes a nice little quick roadmap and things like that to help you out. Good things, bad things. Good thing is I'm looking out. Sunshine. I have not seen sunshine in like it feels like days and days and days. Finally, I guess the rains are pushing through a little bit, things like that. It is that fall weather. It's gotten cooler. It's sort of nice to have like you get that sort of warmish day and then a nice cool night. Those are some of my favorites. However, it brings some rain as well, and so you just don't see the sun as much. So the good news is, hey, at least we are getting a little bit of touch of sunlight and warmth. The bad news is that it's fall and like the summery stuff is going away. But in line with all of that, as we're about to stumble right into the holiday season of like, we've got Halloween right around the corner and Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, that whole thing. Always fun, always flies by. This year, probably more so than it will in any previous years because of just all the things going on in the world. But more importantly, first, you guys get to hear another introduction from Michael. So dive right in.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Malash. I'm one of the co-founders of Developreneur. I'm also the founder and owner of Envision QA, where we help businesses take control of their software by focusing on what matters most. And that is quality, reliability, and support you can count on. Whether you're building something new or trying to fix what's broken, we combine custom development with thorough testing to make sure that your systems actually work before you actually hand them off to your customer. At Envision QA, we don't just build software, we make sure it's solid, stable, and ready to support your business growth. Check us out at envisionqa.com. Good thing, bad thing. Similar to you, mine is with all the wonderful rain we've had, since it is my allergy season, it has been miserable. I'm ready for it to dry out for a few days. On the good side, my favorite holiday is actually right around the corner from this recording. Halloween is one of my favorite times of the year, and it actually falls on the day I can actually enjoy it this year.
That is always rare but cool. Wes has he introduced himself last episode, so you can check that out because we don't want to waste any time with an additional introduction. We are going to dive right back into our conversation with Wes Towers, picking up right where we left off.
So does your company have any, do you guys have like some custom built tools for managing that to keep track of their SEO and make sure that, hey, you're getting the hits that you need based on, the particular categories or topics they're out there marketing for? Or are you out there like using third-party tools to kind of track and monitor that?
Yeah, it's all third-party tools at this stage, and it's an interesting step. I feel as though we should we should go down that path of customizing our own, um, and we could probably do a lot of it with vibe coding, but it might not be perfect. And it feels to me, I mean, it feels to me it's only that stuff's only going to get better. So maybe waiting a couple of years. It can build really basic, as you guys know, it can build really basic things, but once you want to deviate and control it a little better, it's not so good. And sort of the design, well, like because I'm a designer, I don't really like the styles. It's pretty bland oftentimes. So I feel as though we'll bite the bullet on building our own. Um, at the moment, it's really a few pieces of software that we just purchase the rights to and do it that way.
So, since you're more of a designer, when you go into a new project for a new customer, do you kind of whiteboard or do like some static pages, like just designs, or do you just jump in there and start building the site to their needs?
It's an interesting thing. So I've changed it dramatically over the years. And the way I started initially was just how, when I was employed, that's how they did it. So they always did three concepts for everything. That's just the way they pitched. They said, we'll do you three design concepts. Didn't matter what it was. And then they would choose one or cobble together a couple of them and work down from there. I stopped doing that because it created more confusion than anything else and just made things slower. I dropped it just to one design, and we for the bigger websites we'll do wireframes and we'll map it all out. But that's kind of rare. It'll just be a simple understanding of the menu structure, really. So the sitemap is all we probably need it for most sites, and then we get started on the design so they see just one design that's closely aligned to. We'll discuss other websites that they like. We won't copy them, but just to get an understanding of their styles and preferences. And we find it's just so much better not confusing them with too many options. It seems sort of counterintuitive, but they seem to be happier with one. I think because their life is easier because they haven't got to decide.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. It's like the watch advertisements in the magazines. If you want to sell watches, you really should have like one or two watches, not 20 watches, because you're just going to confuse your brand essentially. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like the quote. I think Henry Ford, it was something like, "You can have the Model T in any color you like as long as it's black."
Yeah.
So I love that. So, brilliant.
Yeah, sometimes simple is going to be much better. It's particularly something like that where they're not, they just like we start out, they want to get the job done. They're like, all right, I want to just get out there. I want to get this, get the word out and move forward with it. I do want to ask because you actually sort of brought it up a little bit. SEO and the whole search engine, optimization and marketing and all that kind of stuff within the world of AI, because now this is one of those areas where I'm a little bit sad for some people that are very SEO focused companies because it's been owned by Google for so long, and now you're very quickly, like literally within periods of months, you're starting to see people switch and they're using AI engines for their
Yeah.
searches. I'm starting to see just like
Mm,
even non-technical people on a regular basis. I'm starting to see like they'll just go hit, Perplexity or Chat GPT or something like that and use that for their search instead. So now if you are, how are you adjusting or maybe even trying to prepare for what's next as this becomes obviously it's going to be a different landscape and I don't think anybody necessarily knows exactly what it's going to look like.
yeah, it is really interesting, and we had to have some difficult conversations with long-term clients who, when Google and the new tools sort of transformed a lot of things with SEO. Everyone's getting less traffic to websites simply because the answer is in platform, whether that be Google or ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever you're using. You're getting your answers elsewhere, but the answers are being drawn from everything that's published online on websites. So the goal is to publish quality content that has the potential to surface on all these platforms, and all the platforms are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to surface the very best information for whatever someone's having a query about. So the long-term play, it doesn't matter how the tech changes, the long-term play will always be true to that. So producing quality content that answers people's needs, that's closely aligned to your business, is the key. It is challenging because you can't measure like you once did. So back in the day, you'd choose your half a dozen, whatever it is, or a dozen keywords that you want to rank for. Plumber Melbourne, for example. And so you would track that, and you would see the ranking improve, and you could show a fancy report, and you could see the ranking improved, therefore the traffic improved, and therefore the return on investment could be easily measured. But now they're getting their answer on platforms that you can't track a click because there is no click. So it can be challenging. We had a client who won a $140,000 project just recently, and he was found on ChatGPT as the very best person in Australia for his field. He only knew where they came from because he was asking the question of them. They were having a large conversation with ChatGPT, and they said, "Hey, who's the very best in Australia?" And he, according to ChatGPT, he was. So that's kind of where it's at. But that's really difficult for people like me to measure. I would never have been able to track that. He had to have the conversation to find that out and realize, hey, the work we did, I did for them, and our team did for them, paid off dividends really quickly. That was within a couple of months of working together.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a whole different challenge. And I guess and that actually goes back to again the customers you're dealing with is part of it goes back to, yeah, you can generate AI content all day long and do stuff like that. But when you're to get the real valuable content that you want to
Mm.
really help distinguish you from everybody else, that means then you have to invest. In your case, your customers, have to invest some time too. They have to be part of generating that content or doing the things to distinguish themselves. How do those conversations go? Is it something they typically are like, okay, yeah, we get it, we're going to have to do part of this, or is it more like, no, you guys are the tech guys, you guys figure it out?
Yeah, so we'll do a lot of the drafting of content for them, but it really is just a draft. But once they've got that better down, the goal is for them to massage in their own unique stories and case studies, examples, everything that only they can bring to the table that I or my team simply wouldn't know. And that's the unique parts that are really important. There's a lot of concern and fear about uh, AI written content not doing very well. But I think it's a little bit of a myth. I don't think AI is going to penalize AI so much. And certainly the websites we're working with, we haven't seen anything like that. But what's going to happen is if there's nothing new, it's not going to surface because they're sophisticated and realize this is just all generic content that's published elsewhere. Why should we mention this brand? So, yeah, so I think using it as a tool to create the first dirty draft, and then working in your own messaging is really important. And the great thing about the content production is you can create really great prompts, really sophisticated prompts to make sure it's on style and brand. It's in the voice and the style that they like. That was always part of the challenge with having a copywriter work on material because, I mean, some of the big companies, they'll have a massive style guide document. So the copywriter would read through it and go, yeah, I get it. Just get started on the work, but it will be soon forgotten because it's just so hard to remember all that stuff. But, AI is so cool at remembering a pretty lengthy piece of info. I know we discussed earlier it can get things wrong a little bit too, but for the most part, it'll keep things on track and on brand. So that's kind of how we're working it for clients. Or even so, we had a website recently who had just changed gears from being a business to business solution and a business to consumer. He wanted to drop the business to consumer because there were headaches and a whole bunch of other concerns and just less profitable. So AI was really great at just reworking, tinkering with his content really fast to remove the B2C nuance in there and just to tighten up some things super fast and easy and just quickly aligned his website to where he is right now.
Yeah, that does make it easy to pivot as a business. Is I found it is really good about saying, okay, take this and shift tweak the content or the target audience a little bit. It's things like take out these kinds of references or add those kinds of references, and it can get that work done very quickly and tends to be pretty thorough about it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so that's the way we're using it mostly for content production, for the to attract search engines and large language models as well. and first drafts and so on. I did speak to another podcast guy who's really heavily involved in the vibe coding. It's almost a side hustle for him. It's probably not a venture I would go down as a service, but you can kind of see where things are headed. It's exciting and terrifying, I find.
So with the tools, so you mentioned AI, and we've talked about ChatGPT, Copilot, things like that. Are you using any specific like coding AI tools like Codeweaver or anything like that within your tool set for building the WordPress sites?
No, we don't. We don't really have much need for any of that. The developers do Copilot, ChatGPT. It does. So basically, what we're mostly doing is taking a bunch of plugins, and we're trying to keep them as lean. Keep the plugins as minimal as possible because it just makes things easier to deal with. But yeah, they're putting them together, and then they're basically troubleshooting most of the time through the tools to find the solutions quicker and getting it done. So yeah, it's not we don't have really complex websites very often. So yeah, that it's more the troubleshooting aspect, which, as you guys know, that can be a nightmare sometimes. There's what seems to be the most simple thing might take half a day to deal with, but these days you might have it within a prompt or two.
Yeah, I know we've also been talking a lot about the SEO pieces of this as well. Kind of want to throw something out there that I've run into over the years as well, dealing with WordPress sites or websites in general. But the CDNs, always trying to like offsource all that static content to load your pages faster to make your site, score higher on Google. What are some of the challenges you've had with dealing with that as well, with these pages and that you're building?
Yeah, caching's always been just caching in general, let alone CDNs, but caching in general has always been a bit of a challenge, particularly with the people we're working with who are less tech savvy. Because as you know, some of the caches can sometimes be pretty stubborn to clear. So there's that side of it, the browser based on their local PC. But yeah, the CDNs. There's a great one from security standpoint, Securi, which is a firewall more than a CDN, but it has a CDN side as well. So when we inherit a website that's really, really old and it's going to be a pain to deal with, we put the firewall on there because it's a simpler solution to get them through till they do a new website. So we did that for a Joomla site, an archaic Joomla site that we took on. The intention was to build them a new site, but he's just delayed on that a little bit. So get them out of trouble with their CDN. So but yeah, everyone's sort of wanting to get the site as fast as they possibly can. The real important thing is the quality of the hosting as well. So when you get a cheap host, it's just not worth it. Get a quality host. It's only a few extra dollars realistically, and it's going to be far more reliable. Usually, sometimes you just get unlucky and get on a bad server. Yeah, I'm sure you've all had that scenario.
Yeah, running into that quite often, and that's a bit of a pain. One other thing I'll touch on with your site. So I know you probably don't want to give away too many of your tools of your toolbox, but um, static images or images in general. Adobe's usually pretty good. GIMP, Photoshop. What are some of the more, I guess, current tools that you might be using, especially with AI around, to get some of these images up there, refine them, and make them smaller, and that so that they load faster, or are better images
Yeah.
for your pages?
Yeah, so we ideally get real photos as much as we possibly can, but to optimize them, Imagify is really great. It can go through and crunch them really nicely. There's the other one that's free, Smush, but we don't use that anymore. That was a few years ago that we were dabbling with that. Just had too many headaches with it, breaking things and so on. So the Smush system. So it's low cost, and it does it really well. In terms of stock photos in WordPress these days, you'll see pixels, however you say it, pixels. Um, for us, it's sometimes a bit of a challenge because, particularly for the construction, the style of buildings aren't necessarily the same here in Australia as they might be internationally. So sometimes it's a bit of a challenge finding suitable images in those circumstances.
Now, do you have, I guess that actually just brings up a sort of a random question. So are your customers, do they tend to be international? They tend to be more Australia based or?
Yeah, mostly Australian. We've got a few international. Just dealing with a real estate agent who, so it's kind of construction, but not really. He does a bit of development and real estate and so on. So he's in the UK and got a few steel companies internationally. For some reason, we've done a heap of steel, so building materials, steel companies. I think what happens is people, the advantage of doing what we do, we have our little link in the footer, which is great because people always check out the competitors and so on, and they follow the link and they find our business. So that's nice. We've only had a couple of people say we don't want your link in the footer. Most people are really fine with it.
Yeah, it seems like that's sort of the, I think that's like that's the accepted practice is if you're going to have somebody build your website, then you're going to have to essentially advertise for that company a little bit by saying, "Hey, this was designed by these guys." If you know, if you like it, point it that way. Which
Yeah,
I guess it just makes sort of sense. It's like, you figure normally if you find somebody that does any kind of job for you well, like if you found somebody that did construction for you well, and like, hey, they built this building great, you're going to want, you'll refer them on to, other people to them. So I would think the website
yeah,
would do
that's
the same
true.
thing. So
Yeah,
Speaking of,
absolutely. Because
yeah, go
yeah, go
ahead.
I
on.
was going
Sorry.
to say, speaking of that, that made me think. So, when you're building these websites for your customers, are you custom building the themes for them, or are you just modifying most of the common themes that are already out there?
Yeah, it was fully customized for a long time, and now we're building on Cadence, which is fantastic. So it's blocks and so super simple to do really fast, and that's really important because we're going for one design. We need to be able to adapt it fairly quickly, otherwise it'll be a nightmare. So because we're jumping straight into that design and development process all at once, it just gives us the capability of moving things around fast. So we're finding it's the best right now. It's fast loading, it's lightweight, it's simple to use. So when the client takes over the website to edit things and so on, they can do it pretty easily. And they are spruiking their AI version, which so you can press a few buttons and it'll try to build a WordPress website for you. It's not great, but they're trying, and some people are probably using it for low level websites. We're not, but you can see kind of in the future, maybe it's to a level in which we will start to use some of those tools. They're a pretty big player. They're very popular. So I think they'll be one of the leaders who get it right from WordPress AI building. So that's kind of why we went down that path. So yeah, it's really good. So anyone can jump in with a little bit of technical know-how and they'll be able to evolve a website.
So, following that thought, for those of our viewers, and that if a lot of us have played with WordPress in the past or currently build WordPress sites today. Um, for those watching or listening, what is some advice you can give to those wanting to get into building a WordPress site or maintaining one? What is your advice to them?
Yeah, so I would definitely avoid some of the page builders like Elementor or so on, Divi, just because it's heavyweight and it bloats the site and it's completely unnecessary. There was a time back in the day where there was an advantage for it because it's more closely you see what you get as you're editing it. But these days with Cadence, you see what you get, but it's lightweight, so it's faster and everything's better. So oftentimes we're inheriting websites which are built in some sort of page builder and they're always slower loading than they need to be. And and doing basic things. If you want to do some sort of style change throughout the site, it's a bit of a nightmare because you've got to go in and edit each page because it's built with this crazy page builder. Yeah, so those sorts of things, stay away from those complicated page builders. They might feel enticing because they've got their advantages, but once you start trying to change things and edit things, and you want it to perform well, fast loading, good user experience, you'll run into headaches. So the stack I would always recommend is Kadence as the theme to build upon. But for SEO, Rank Math, in my opinion, is the best. I know lots of people were using Yoast for a long, long time, and still it's still pretty good, but you needed to get the upgrade, the pro version to unlock some of the local SEO and so on. But with Rank Math, it comes straight out of the box, a lot of those features. It also has the AI capabilities to write all your titles and descriptions with a click of a button and does a really good job. So it'll just work out what's on the page and then write something that's meaningful for the page to the right length and everything like that. So they're the core things. Security. WordFence is a free one, which is really good. If it needs a higher level of security, Securi, the website firewall, that's a paid for service. The what else? In terms of forms, I think Gravity Forms is the best because it just has so many integrations built in. You can buy a higher level and it can integrate into whatever CRM you like pretty much, or do whatever you need it to do, take payments, etc. So they're some of the core stack that we would typically use, but there's always a nuance. There's always something unique in every website, but that's a good starting point.
Well, that's excellent. So I want to thank you so much for your time and for hanging out with us. In the pre-show, I talked a little bit and said that, we've never had a bad guest, so I put a lot of pressure on him, and yet he just like has shined, and we continue to have never had a bad guest, as far as
I'm
anybody knows
pleased.
at any rate. So this is a great conversation. This is it was one of those I was hoping to get into some of these things, which we did, about like having a presence and really talking like outside a little bit of the technical side of just like a website and what you're getting there, and what some of the things that you want to do, and being consistent and things of that nature. So this was excellent. I'm sure that a lot of people in the audience would love to have been intrigued by this. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you if they have a construction company or some other where they want to make use of your services?
Yeah, sure. So uplift360.com.au is the website, and you can book a meeting directly with me if there's something people want to discuss. I'm happy to chat. There's no obligation with that, but all the social media you would typically find is on the website as well. It's the easiest place to find everything there.
Excellent. And we'll make sure we've got links in the show notes for all of that as well, just in case they don't understand your Aussie accent there a little bit or something.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Uplift. Let's try it again. The main thing is the website, uplift360.com.au. Don't forget the AU being Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. It's always fun to have. It's like, yeah, people get caught up on those things sometimes when it's like it's really not that hard. But that being said, I really do appreciate the time. It's been a great conversation. Everybody's listening. Feel free to reach out. Obviously, he's a very accessible guy, great guy to talk to. And so, again, appreciate your time. Thanks for being here, and
Thanks
we'll
so
sort
much.
of
Yeah.
sign off and let you get back to your day.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Michael. It's been fantastic.
Thanks a lot. You have a good one.
Take care.
And that wraps up our conversation. Now, you may get to see a little bonus material with Wes, maybe not, depending on how you look at this. But this wraps up our conversations, I guess, with him, 2 episodes. Again, as always, I just want to thank Wes for his time. Appreciate all that he has brought to the table. You guys have got, as you know, from that, you can reach out to him if you want to have a conversation with him. I think he will be more than glad to do so. We'll have all of those, even don't forget the .au on the end of the website. We'll have those links there, and you can go check his site out and see what he does, and see where you can help out or maybe learn a little bit in that industry. Or if you happen to be in construction and you need a website, that might be exactly the guy to talk to. If you want a better podcast, you need to talk to us via an email, info@developaneur.com. You can check us out on developaneur.com, the Developaneur channel on YouTube. Again, I was poking around on that the other day, doing some updates and some stuff, and got back into some of the older stuff. We've got a lot of stuff out on YouTube as well as the site itself. There's well over 1,000 articles, posts, and stuff like that on the website. There's hundreds on YouTube. There's a ton of content, and whether you want to learn about building a business, whether you want to learn about building a website, whether you want to worry about building your career, learning how to do certain languages and things better. We've got all sorts of that stuff out there. So go check it out. And on any of it, even the oldest stuff, if you leave us a comment, we will send something back. We'll let you know if you have questions, however we can help you. If you have suggestions of whatever we can do, maybe in future articles, future podcasts, newsletters, you name it, we are happy to help you because we're here to serve you, to make you better developers through the content we provide, not simply make ourselves better by the content that we're working our way through. That being said, as always, appreciate your time. Go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time. All right. And so that's the wrapping up the conversation here. Wes,
Yeah,
again,
cool.
thank you so much. Is that hopefully that went well with you? Everything was good.
Yeah,
So
I felt it went well. You happy? Obviously, you felt it was all right. Yeah, good.
oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's a challenge when sometimes when we don't give you the questions ahead of the time or anything. So it's just sort of like, here you go, and let's see where it goes. And it was, like I said, you did not disappoint. I told you, like, you've been doing this long enough. I had a feeling that you were going to be able to just like knock those out of the park, and you did. Those were great conversations.
cool.
A lot of little great thought points in there as well. I took a couple notes along the way, and I got a few
Yeah,
things there that
great.
I'll have to go back and think about a little bit with our some of how we approach our website and some of our messaging and such.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Mhm.
We'll once it's published, I'll share it through the socials.
Yep, we'll get it out. It'll probably be out in the next week or two. I'll get you
Yep.
we'll do probably like on a Tuesday and then a Thursday. So I'll get you the one link when that goes, and then follow up the second one when
Mhm.
that comes available. And feel free to share it out wherever you want. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help you. Let us know, and we'll be happy to be there and be of service.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a
Speak
good
soon.
one, Wes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
And now that Wes is gone, we can talk about him. So, uh, we'll go with our bonus material here. Um, my thoughts on this, just briefly, I'll go ahead and throw this out first. Is uh, This is back to I'm getting back into the rhythm of interviews, being a guest and a host, and doing this. I've been on, I don't know, 4 or 5 podcasts in the last week, or at least I guess recorded. I don't know how many of them actually gone out. Uh, Starting to get back into those, being a guest, having people come on like this who I had never really spoken with Wes before this show, but got like a little bit of his background and stuff like that. I just say like IT people are awesome. I'm just like people that are in this circuit or whatever it is. It's just like I'm always amazed at how much fun I have having conversations with these people and what their businesses are, and especially the niche or niche, depending on how you want to pronounce it, that you get into. The fact that you've got somebody that has decided that we're going to build websites for construction companies. Some people would be like, "That's crazy," and yet they've been doing it for a while and they're not doing too bad. So there's a lot of great insights too that we got out of this as somebody that has built a business. And particularly I love the little part about the evaluation and being surprised, because what you've done, it really is literally like what you've done does not actually show what you may be able to do in the future. And sometimes technology changes really quick, and you need to be ready to zig, or when everybody's zagging or whatever it needs to be to keep your business relevant and up to date and new. Technology probably more so than anything, is it just, even like he mentioned, you need to do your regular website updates and stuff like that. Just whoever you are, wherever you're at, don't get too comfortable, because things change so quick. And it's always good to just like have a couple of things out there, be playing around with some of the new technologies and understanding what's going on, so that if something happens and somebody sweeps the legs out from underneath you, you can go dive, cling on to another technology or another platform or another approach, pivot and move on and survive. Bonus material from you.
Yeah, so I really liked the conversation we had with him. One of the I'm glad I asked a question about the tools and that because he threw out some plugins and things that I had not heard of, and I'm going to go check those out. Like the Gravity Forms. Forms has always been hard to find a good plugin to throw a form on a WordPress site. They almost always break within a few months. Like you have to stay on that plugin and always stay up to date. Um, Rank Math, that was another one. Cadence I'd heard of. I heard that was an up and coming. So definitely want to check that out. But the Imagify, we used what Image Analyzer years ago to compress all of our images, and th- they got pricey. Kind of got away from them. But that's one of the biggest problems with WordPress sites. I find is your images have to you have to make sure that things are compressed well, but also not too badly because they need to be either you need to create images for each platform, phone, web, tablet, whatever. But if you compress them too much, they look crappy or they don't show up at all. So that was an interesting one. The other thing too, though, it's just amazing. Here we are again talking to another company where AI is really disrupting things. It's going to be interesting to see where this is all heading in the next, not even years now. I mean, things are just really speeding up in the next few months. It's like every month something new, and every week it's like, oh, hey, here's something else, and it's like we're really going really fast, but no one's really stopping to see what are we really running to. It's like we're going so fast, things are falling off, and are we getting quality, or are we just getting something that looks like quality that is essentially going to be this big AI bubble that's going to burst? And yes, it's disrupted everything, but now we're all the people that AI got rid of that we need back to fix the problems.
Well, there's always that. I mean, you have to evolve or be lost, basically. And so it's going to be a lot of, like a lot of things. There are going to be jobs that are going to disappear because of it. I've had a conversation yesterday with some people, and I think the virtual assistant industry I think I would declare it dead. I have, I'm one of those that, although never a heavy user of virtual assistants or anything, I definitely have dealt with several people, talked to a lot of people that have worked in that, worked with that to some extent. And I see absolutely no reason for it. If you can spend a little time, if you understand a little bit about AI, then practically anything that you would have a VA do for you, other than like direct phone calls to human beings, and even then, AI's got some really good voice stuff there. It is frustrating. I just was on a complete AI support call today and wanted to yell and scream at the AI, but couldn't because it doesn't do you any good. And it's just stubborn like that too. It's like, well, I can't do that. It's like, well, you need to do that or you're going to lose a customer. And they're like, well, that's just too bad. I'm like, okay, well, too bad. And we had to part ways. So I won't deal with that company anymore. Um, but I think it's it's fun. It's fun and scary to be in a situation where you've got things changing so fast, and it is very much the search engines and things like that are changing dramatically. A lot of us have used searches and stuff like that to help their development efforts and to help build things and craft things for a while, and now AI is just like put a turbo boost on that. And then with some of these conversations now, like he said, which is really it's a really interesting conundrum, is that now you've got these AI engines that are sort of sitting on top of content. And so if you want your content to stick out and to be able to like get people to via using your content actually connect into you, now you've got a whole different set of challenges, because like I don't know how long it's going to be before your website actually becomes sort of a thing of the past, because people are going to be already, people talk to, use all these voice boxes and stuff like that to talk to technology. They're going to have chats with stuff where they're never going to see your website. And so what do you do there? How do you, that's going to change stuff. How do you navigate, as these things get better? I think a mouse and maybe even a keyboard are going to go away, because it's like, you don't need to navigate that way. You don't need that sort of clunky thing. You just start asking questions, and the computer there will start doing stuff for you. And it's getting pretty darn good at that. Like I said, I think the future that Star Trek promised us basically is very rapidly getting to that point. I think we're getting a point where we're going to see a lot of interface changes and things like that. So this will be cool. It's exciting times, which are also often a little bit scary times. So
Just got to make sure the AI button is on, unlike the worldwide outage that happened just recently. That was a fun
yeah,
day.
yeah. I mean, you got to watch out for that kind of stuff. Is sometimes those things, technology can also disappear really quickly. So make sure you still know how to start a fire and eat food without having the technology create it for you. All the important things, don't forget to breathe, stuff like that. That being said, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us and being a part of this. If you know somebody's a guest, if you want to be a guest, let us know, because we are, I, I really have I don't know, we're probably 100 people that I've interviewed or more now, and they've just all different walks of life, and they've always found, like, whenever I say that, I think there was one person I was like, really didn't need to have that conversation. That was like one person, and it wasn't that bad. It was just like, not, I don't think it was a great day for when we had that conversation. But other than that, and I've had several that are like highly memorable conversations that will stick with me the rest of my life. And it's always, if you got half out of this as I did, then this was you got more than the value for your time spent, especially if you listen to this at like 1.25 speed, as I often do with podcasts. All of that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're not done yet. We're going to keep on chugging along. This is going to be an interesting one. This may be just like the last time I introduced interviews. We may just like blow right into like, cross multiple seasons, or have like some mega season. We'll have to see how it goes. Michael's a little bit more of a like, gotta have the right number of episodes per season. He's a little more like he's a rule follower, one of those kinds of people. I'm more on the chaotic good side, I guess, or something like that, but maybe neutral.
Evil.
Be a little evil. But that being
Chaotic
said,
evil.
take you and your however you are aligned self. Go out there and have a great one. We will talk to you next time around.